This digital real estate beats the S&P 500. No, I'm not talking about some kind of crypto scam, some kind of NFT monkey that's sitting on a blockchain doing nothing. This is about a real project that's providing actual value to the market. Now, what type of asset class am I talking about here? I'm talking about mobile apps. And I brought to you an actual case study here. We can see this is the app that I bought about a year ago. I later sold it. And accounting for all the profit and the exit price, I made an ROI of 287%. We're going to dive into all the details of this flip and how you can achieve the same. Now, without further ado, let's start by defining what is digital real estate. And I'd like to define it as online property that captures and monetizes attention. Let's take a website, for example. If it's properly optimized for search engine optimization, then it will naturally rank in the Google search results. This can convert into traffic, and then traffic can convert into attention, and then this attention you can monetize later on. Now the same applies to other digital assets, for example mobile apps. Usually what you would have is also a certain standing in the Play Store or the App Store. You might have a SaaS product that might look a little bit different. Maybe you have like this marketing machine that generates you cash flow automatically. But what all these have in common is that they can generate recurring cash flow, just like rental property. Now, it has to be said, there is obviously higher risk, but for that higher risk, you get a much higher ROI potential. And we're going to dive into how it looked like exactly in my case. But first, let's compare the digital asset class of a mobile app with real estate. In both cases, you will have certain maintenance that has to be done. Now, the income is quite stable and predictable for real estate. On the other hand, on a mobile app, it can be fluctuating, but also scalable, because you have in-app purchases, subscriptions, and ads, and they all depend on the current demand of your app. When it comes to cash yield, it's quite limited for real estate. You can calculate with 3 to 7% per year, of course, depending on the location, where it's situated in a city, countryside, and maybe if it's commercial real estate, I don't know. But for a mobile app, this number is usually between 25 to 50% for the use case that you just buy an app and then hold it. The underlying assumption here is that you bought an app at a multiplier, and that multiplier was between 24 and 48 of the monthly profit. Appreciation, yes, for real estate there is. For mobile app, I would say it really depends if you actively improve the app or not. Now, when it comes to the risk profile, I would evaluate as medium for real estate, and then mobile app medium to high. In both cases, you can have things happening, external circumstances that happen. For example, your real estate might have a water damage, there might be property tax increases, interest rate increases. So there are some external factors that come into play for mobile app as well. But if you acquire the skills necessary to maintain an app and to grow it, I would argue that you can bring down the risk tremendously. Now, on the other hand, the reward for real estate is also quite capped. On the other hand, for a mobile app, it can be very high. So I would make the case here that the risk-reward ratio for a mobile app is better than for real estate if you have the skills or you acquire the skills necessary to buy a proper app, make due diligence, find a good deal, and then grow your app from there. I would suggest a minimum starting capital of $5,000. Why not lower? Well, below that it will be quite difficult to find an app that's actually generating any meaningful income. And you also have to account your time into it. So when you improve the asset, let's say you put in 10 hours, but you only improve the asset by 10%, then that would be $500. Depending on your hourly rate, this might not be very sustainable and not what you're looking for. Now, ideally, you're a bit of a tech-savvy entrepreneur, or maybe an indie hacker or side hustler. And the reason I'm saying that is there are some technicalities, of course, that you have to consider, like making uploads. Yes, you can outsource certain things to a developer, but it would be still good to acquire those skills so you're not dependent on someone else. Also, what you want to make sure is that you have a few hours per week available so you can make some ASO improvements. So ASO is App Store optimization. And yeah, maybe you have some time to reply to customer requests so you keep your user base happy as well. So yeah, what I would recommend is you have some basic ASO knowledge and a little bit of light dev knowledge. So this is really just how to create a build from your code repository so you can You can do like very minor changes and updates. I think nowadays with tools like Cursor AI, it should be very much attainable to do certain tweaks and changes yourself. Let's have a look at the case study that I brought to you. This is an app that I actually bought in April 2024. It's a color sorting app, very basic and simple concept. You basically have two main colors and then you need to sort every color in between that in ascending or descending order. You can see it here in the screenshots, and people install it to relax, to just have some time off. It's really a simple app. There are no sophisticated levels, nothing, just a distraction-free experience. With that said, I bought the app in April 2024 for $3,000 from an indie developer from the United States. And just a month after that, I made changes to the pricing and paywall. Well, not myself, but I hired a developer to do the changes for me. Why didn't I do it myself? Well, I really wanted to have a proof of concept for this project where I list every expense and every profit to then be able to say, this was the ROI that I made on this project without including my own developer time. And also this code base was really exotic. It was written in Lua on a Solar 2D framework, really ancient. No one uses it. I think it was also discontinued, but it was the easiest thing for me to do, was just to hire that developer for a few hours to make these changes. And with these changes, I was able to increase the profit and sell the app for $9,000 to a UK mobile studio in April 2025, just a year after I bought it. Now here we can see the actual profits for every month. It was doing roughly around $100 or even less before I bought it. And then right after the change, you can see it tripled in profit, a small decline at the end here, but still much higher than what I bought it for. Yeah, we can see purchase price $3,000, development expenses were around $350 for a few dev hours. The operating profit was $3,500, and then yeah, the exit price with a broker fee of $900, which led us to a total ROI of 287%. I'm sure the guys at Wall Street would just jump on this if they could invest into an asset like this without putting their time into it. But yeah, you have to put a little bit of time into it. But I'm convinced if you're a little bit tech savvy and you're willing to incur some risks, this is quite a great way to invest your money. Yes, this project is in the 4 digits, but again, I did it as a proof of concept and I don't see a reason why it wouldn't work with a higher digit number, especially because you would get a much higher return on your time invested on such projects. Again, depending on your hourly rate. Okay, now you might say, okay, it sounds very interesting. I want to also buy an app. What do I have to look out for when buying an app as a beginner? I would say do the due diligence very carefully. There are lots of black sheeps. And for my due diligence, I use the ASO tool Mobile Action, where I can see all the metrics that are important to me. So for example, we can see the reviews here. We can see this organic visibility score, which gives us a rough approximation of the organic reach of this app. And we can also see the history of keyword rankings. Here, for example, I typed in the app Habit Tracker, Habit Kit by Sebastian Röhl. And here we can see the history of his rankings for the keyword Habit Tracker, around 2, 3, relatively stable and quite good rankings here. And this is a real asset here, having those keyword positions on Google Play and the App Store, because these positions convert into traffic and this traffic converts into revenue. Further, you want to look for hidden opportunities. So this, for example, could be that there's an indie developer out there who really built a great product, but he doesn't really have too much of an idea of how to properly monetize it. And he doesn't have an onboarding maybe, or his subscription is way underpriced, then this is a great opportunity to utilize. In my case, for example, the lifetime purchase for the color sorting app was at 99 cents. And really just by increasing it to $5.99 and adding a paywall and improving the onboarding, we were able to triple the revenue, but just by these small tweaks. Ideally, the app is also of lower maintenance. I'm just saying if you're a beginner and you are not that technical, you're not a developer, then you don't want to be dealing with the code base too much. I would also avoid apps with policy violations, apps on hyper-competitive spaces, or apps that use fake traffic to get users. Where can you find such apps to buy? There are many places on the internet. For example, you have websites like acquire.com, flipper.com. You have specialized app brokers. I, for example, sold my app with Eve Herrera. You can find her on LinkedIn and check out her website. I think she lists all the projects there that she's currently selling or that she's commissioning. You can DM indie devs directly if you see their posts on Twitter, on Indie Hackers, or on LinkedIn. And what I did was I did cold email outreach to listings on Google Play and App Store listings for those where I saw potential. Actually, there's much more history on this one because I created a script that automates the whole process of finding potential profitable app ideas, and I then also automated the whole process of reaching out to them in a personalized manner. And last year for myself, I developed the flight tracker app Flights25 publicly on YouTube. And at some point I want to make a big exit on it. Right now I still want to grow it, but at some point when I'm ready to sell, I think I will announce it here or on LinkedIn. I hope I introduced you to a new asset class that you might have not been fully aware of before. Follow me on LinkedIn. If you have any questions, just reach out to me directly. I'll be happy to answer them. Take care.